Hey guys, I said I was going to do a video about reincarnation because I've had some people ask me if it's real or not real, or if I believe in it or not believe in it. And I'm sorry if I look yellow, it's because I'm sitting outside my hotel and it's got like yellow lights, so sorry. Okay, so this is what I want to say about that. I do believe in reincarnation, but I also have another theory, which is going to sound bizarre. So, every human has cells in their body, right? From a science standpoint, our cells carry memory. But scientists say that the memory that our cells carry is based on if we have a cold, and of course we've all had colds, that if we get another cold, our cells remember, oh, we've had this sickness before. So we know what to do to fight it off. We know how to attack those cold cells, or those cold germs, should I say. But what if our cells don't only hold a virus fighting memory, but also hold memory of our ancestors? Now, grant you, I don't know how true this is because I'm just saying that there's some things I've noticed and researched, and I'm thinking that some people might have memories from their ancestors' lives. Because you know as well as I do, generations ago, our families really struggled, especially like in the winter, trying to stay warm and find food and blah, blah, blah. And many people got sick and died because they canned wrong or whatever, or ate bad vegetables or bad fruits or bad meat. So they went through a lot of struggles. They seen war and famine and disease way back in the day. We didn't have sewage like we do now. They had to crap in a outhouse, and you can't tell me that didn't cause a bunch of bacterias and diseases. So they went through a lot of trials and tribulations. So my point is that what if our ancestors' memories are genetically in our DNA? Hang on again, because here comes another car. So what if we have memories from our ancestors? So think of it like this. So our eye color, our facial shapes, our hair color, our attached or detached earlobes, our hammer toes, if we have hammer toes, certain diseases, they're genetically passed down from generation to generation, right? So if those things are so apt to be passed down from one generation to another, or maybe skips a couple generations and hits a family member, what makes you think that our ancestors' memories are not genetically inherited also? And I'm no scientist, I don't know how the brain works, but our brain, like they say, we only use 10% of it, but what happens if the other 90% is full of memories stored from generations and generations and generations ago, from our ancestors? What if? So if you look at it like that, what if our cells hold memory not only with viruses and bacterias or things we get sick with, but what happens if our DNA or our cells also hold the memory of our ancestors? Because my blood came from my mom and dad, which came from their mom and dad, which came from their mom's mom and dad. So how do we know we're not holding that inside our systems or our body or our cells or our brain? And it reminds me of this, and this is what made me think about this. I was sitting out on my porch the other day, and we had 3 baby squirrels that were born probably about 3 months ago, okay, probably in April. They were born. Well, in the beginning, the mom had her nest inside of a hollow part of a tree in my backyard. And when the babies were finally old enough and had their eyes open, they would peek their heads up out of that hole, look around, try to get familiar, and as time went on, they'd come up and sit up on that open area of the hollow tree, and the slightest noise would scare them back into their hole. Well, as time went on, they got more comfortable coming out and then down onto the ground and foraging for food, right? Well, the mom took off about 3 weeks ago. So I have 3 baby squirrels that are about 3 months old, and they run around and they know where to go to get food because I have bird seed and all kinds of stuff sitting out. But the mom's gone. She just left them. Once she realized they were self-sufficient, she left, right? So the other day I'm sitting on my back porch and I hear things dropping out onto the deck, and I'm like, what the heck? So I look up and I see the one baby female squirrel biting on a limb she had broken off, and she was like pulling all the bark off, and there was shards of bark all over my deck and on the ground. There was leaves laying on the ground. It was crazy. Looked like she was tearing the hell out of my tree. But so I'm watching her up there, and she's taking that bark off, and she's using that solid part of the branch, and she's carrying it to this area where she has made a nest out of leaves, a huge nest out of leaves, and she's packing that stick in there after the bark's been taken off, right? And I'm thinking to myself, whoa, wait a minute. Her mom done left her 3 weeks ago, probably. How does she know to build that nest? Who taught her? Because her mom didn't teach her how to build it. Who taught her to build that nest? How does she know to do that to get prepared for the fall or the winter or whatever's to come next? And I'm thinking, nobody showed her how to do that. How does she know? She just knows. Instincts, right? Everybody's going to say them are her natural animal instincts. Well, wait a minute here. When we're born, we have people that care for us to teach us those things. Nobody taught her that. And we're a mammal, just like she's a mammal. So I'm thinking to myself, back in like prehistoric times, maybe there was like a dinosaur squirrel or whatever, I mean, I don't know what they would have been called or what she hails from originally, but that instinct has been embedded in her genetics, in her DNA, from the very first squirrel that was ever alive on this earth. That instinct has been embedded. That memory has been embedded in her DNA. So now this baby squirrel knows exactly what to do to survive without someone ever showing her, without her mother ever showing her how to make a nest or how to forage for food. So that's just like a little way to look at it. Like, okay, how do we know that some of our instincts, our natural God-given instincts, are not memories of things that our ancestors went through, or the good times and the bad times are memories of our ancestors? How do we know that's not passed down to us genetically? Because my eye color comes from my ancestors. People have said, you look like, say for example, people say, oh my gosh, you look like your aunt. Or your aunt looks like your great-grandpa so-and-so. Okay, so them are genetic traits that are passed down. Just like the squirrel's genetic instinct or traits are passed down in her DNA in her little tiny brain. So what makes you think that some of the memories from our ancestors are not passed down genetically? Also, if features can be passed down, diseases can be passed down, blood disorders can be passed down, even a hammer toe can be passed down, and it can skip generations and hit a generation away. So I know that I've told you guys before that I did past life regression a couple years ago in Columbus, Ohio, with a therapist, a licensed therapist. And what she does is she brings you between the dream state and the awake state. So you're in between being awake and in full-blown REM, that's the deepest sleep, okay? So when she does that, she does only try to bring forth like 2 different past lives that you might have had, even though there'll be numerous ones, according to the reincarnation theory, okay? But the day that I left her office, I still felt weird. I felt like I was almost still in a dream kind of state, or I felt like I was in my own head, technically. It was really strange. So as I'm driving home, which was a 3-hour drive, mind you, I'm having visions of this guy. And this guy in my head is my dad. He has a big beard. He has this weird hat on. He has this weird outfit on. And then I envisioned, oh, hang on again. I think somebody's coming out. Oh, wait. Nope, it's not. So then in my head, I envisioned me and my sister in another country. We were walking down this path beside this like palace-y looking thing. I can't call it a castle because it wasn't that. It was more like a palace. It was a weird designed building, and I knew that was home. And I knew that dad guy with the beard and the weird hat and the stern looking kind of face, and he was kind of heavy set, lived there. And I knew we lived there, me and this sister, and we were close in age. I could tell, very close in age. Okay. We were walking outside this palace area, and this boy runs up to us, and this is what I'm seeing as I'm driving home. It was very strange. It was like I was still in that past life regression stuff. So this young boy runs up to us, and he's trying to talk to us. And I remember feeling the feeling of panic, like I can't be talking to this boy. I'm not allowed to talk to this boy. And I remember even me and my sister in my past life were looking up at that palace like, oh my God, I hope our dad doesn't see this. I hope none of the workers see this. We're not supposed to be talking to boys outside our, what do you want to call it, class, okay? So it was like a peasant boy, so to speak, maybe. And we knew, because of where we came from and who our father was, that we were not allowed to talk to these peasant boys because we had arranged marriages, okay? And we were dressed in weird garb. Our hair was black and it was up, and we had dark hair, and our hair was up into these things, and we had weird attire on. And this is what I'm seeing as I'm driving home, right? I know it sounds crazy, and I know I'm going down a rabbit hole, but I just want to be truthful with you guys of the things that I've experienced and I've gone through to try to show you how it's all tied together in a sense. So I'm seeing this vision, and I just remember that both us, me and my sister, had really dark hair, and our dad had really dark hair, and what he had on. And if I was a sketch artist, I could draw his picture right now. Seriously, right now, because his features and the way he looked stuck in my head for the past 2 years. So the day that I seen that squirrel building that nest and stuff, it was like it all came back to me. And it was odd because my daughter was over that day and said, hey Mom, have you checked 23andMe lately? And I'm like, no, I haven't. But I know that a few months ago they had updated their system, which I had done 23andMe like 5 or 6 years ago. And every so often they update their system because they get more DNA from other countries to compare your blood to. So a few months ago to a year ago, they had updated the system, and I found out that I had a 5th great grandparent who was full-blooded Egyptian, okay? And I'm like, whoa. So for some reason that got my brain a turning that day she was at my house. Like, I know that I have a 5th great grandparent that was Egyptian. So I thought, you know what? And that sultan kind of looking guy was coming back to me. And I remember feeling like we were Arabian. That's what was weird. In my vision, I remember feeling like we were Arabian or something like that, because we definitely weren't from here. We were from another country. And like I said, there was a weird shaped palace, like building we lived in. And it was like in a fortress, kind of like, not fortress, but like stone walls around this place, right? So where am I going with this? So I know on 23andMe, my 5th great grandparent, whether it was a male or female, was full-blooded Egyptian. So I thought, let me go see who royalty would have been in Egypt during that time. Did I get a little history lesson? So on my 23andMe, it says that I have I don't know if I'm going to say this right, Levantine in my blood also. And I thought, that's weird, it falls underneath Egypt. So it shows you like Egypt, and then it shows like the substrate of what culture you were like. And so I was like, Levant is what they call these people, Levants or whatever. So when I decided to do the math and figure out when my 5th generational grandparent would have been born, I figured out it would have been from like 1870s to 1890s probably. So I look at that era, and I look in Egypt to find out if there was any rulers. So I'm looking at historical pictures and blah, blah, blah online. I come across this guy's picture. This guy's picture looks like the guy I seen in my vision the day I drove home from my past life regression. So much so, it was black and white, so much so that I stopped, and I'm like, oh my God. I screenshot that picture because he stood out to me so much that I had that overwhelming flashback of the vision I had seen 2 years prior. So when I did that, I thought, okay, now I need to do my research on this guy. I need to know if he had 2 daughters that were very close in age by a specific woman, because this is the stuff I've seen in my vision when I drove home that day. So I click on this guy's picture and I'm looking up his name. I pull it up online and I find out that this man had 2 daughters that were a year apart in age. He also had a son who died at birth or stillborn. But that's, with this specific woman, he had 2 daughters, okay? This is stuff that I seen in my vision, but I'm finding it online. Real as real can be, okay? And I know you're probably thinking, Charity, you're going down a freaking rabbit hole, but I'll explain it. So I'm looking at this like, whoa, now that I know his daughter's names, I need to see what these girls look like, because I kind of remember what we looked like. I knew about the dark hair and the weird garb we had on our head and the weird clothes we had. And I pull up the 2 girls. Amina was one of them and Nimatula was another one. So when it shows their pictures side by side, I got a weird chill. When I get weird chills, it's my guide's way of saying, bingo, you know what I mean? Or you're right about something. So I'm looking at this girl and Amina, and that's who I felt like I may have been, okay, was the Amina, because something about her features and something about her hair, even though her hair was black in that picture, her hair was long down to her butt like I used to have it as a child and as an adult, even at points in time. But when I was skinny in like high school, 17, 18, I was really skinny, and kind of from the side profile, there is a little bit of a resemblance. When I looked at the Nimatula woman, her eyes, something about her eyes reminded me of my best friend in this present day. I'm going to call my best friend in this present day G. And when I had told my friend back when this past life regression thing was going on, I told her that I felt like me and her knew each other from way back, like we were sisters in a past life, because of that vision I got. When I looked at my friend, I felt like in my past life, I felt like that was my best friend this present day. So that was who my sister was back then in the late 1800s. My best friend was my sister. And they say we stay in the same soul circle, okay? Meaning that if your mom was your mom back in the 1700s, that your mom's soul this day and age might be your nanny or your aunt or your best friend in this life, okay? That's what soul circle, you always stay in the same soul circle. So what's crazy is that it dawned on me like, whoa, this is crazy, because this is the girls I feel like me and my best friend G were at one point in time back in the 1800s. So I sent out the picture of the dad, okay, first to my friend. And I sent that picture, and then I think I sent the 2 pictures of the girls, and then I recorded a voice message for my friend. My friend did not listen to the voice message. She instantly seen the picture, and in her head, she says, that looks like my dad. That's what she said to herself. And my friend is very intuitive and has a lot of energy also. But she gets weird vibes about things. So she instantly said, she was driving, so she couldn't talk to me. So then she listened to my voicemail. And what I said in that voicemail was, I think this was our dad in a past life. And I think this is me, and I think this is you. Talking about the 2 sisters. So then my friend was like, voicemail me back, and she's like, Charity, when I first seen that man's picture, the first thing that came to my head was, that's my dad, or that looks like my dad, that's my dad. So that told me something, that she had that weird gut feeling, not even knowing what I was saying on my voicemail at that point. So then she listened to my voice message, and then she did some research on the 2 girls, and she sent me a picture of Amina, which I felt like was me. So she sent me the picture of Amina, and I looked at the picture. I'm like, oh my God, I just feel like this is me, like from a long time ago. Like, is this reincarnation, or is this an ancestor? What the hell is happening here? This is so strange to me. But what I didn't notice at first was Amina's birthday, or her death date. That was right below the picture. So my friend had pointed it out. So I looked, and Amina's birth date was September 15th, 1874. My birth date is September 15th, 1973. 99 years later, I was born on the same exact day. Now tell me that's coincidence, because I don't know what else it is. But I think it's very strange that these people that I'm feeling like I've known sometime in a past life, or whether it was an ancestor memory I'm picking up, I have no clue. But I was born on Amina's birthday 99 years later, exact to the day. Which 99 is a good, powerful number, but that's a different story. So when I messaged her back, voice messaged her back, I'm like, what the F? That's how shocked I was. I said, did you see her birthday? Did you see? She's like, I know, that's why I sent it to you. I'm freaking out, thinking, oh my God, I'm September 15th, 1874, and I'm born September 15th, 1973. I almost made the 100-year mark, but I made it to 99. What? That's just shit like this can't be made up, guys. It just can't be made up. And I'm telling you, there's a connection somehow, some way. So now that I know this information, I need to find out if this Amina is an ancestor of mine, because this is what I do. I am a truth seeker. I have to seek the truth. I have to find a connection, because there's connections with everything in this world. And I'm somebody who needs to know the truth. Okay, is she a past relative? Or is reincarnation real and I was her at one point in time, and my best friend G was my sister in that past life? So I am a member of Ancestry.com, and now that I know Amina's full name, and I know the other girl's full name, and I know what their dad's name was, I'm going to do some genealogy research to find out, trace up to me, to see if I am related to her some way, shape, some form. What's crazy is I know, based on my great-great-grandparents, that our family comes from like the Luxembourg, Germany area. Back then it probably wasn't called that, it was called something else, but that's where my ancestors basically come from. Scandinavia, Germany, Luxembourg, Great Britain, United Kingdom, and then Egypt. Okay, and I think I have African and Native American in me also, according to my DNA. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I can break this down even more. And now that I know that I have a membership to Ancestry, I'm going to start doing research to see if I can tie this Amina into being my relative. If I cannot find out that she's somehow my relative, then I think it's a past life reincarnation or something, that I was able to recognize these people like I knew them, like I felt familiar with them. And the fact that I was born on her birthday 99 years to the day is creepy. It's creepy, and you just can't make this up. What are the chances that these feelings I've had and these things I've gotten... I just seen a spirit over there. Hold on. Whenever I talk about stuff like this, I start seeing things. I just seen a spirit standing over there behind, over the metal fence. But anyways, I'm going to have trouble shake it. Hold on. That was a man too. Hang on. So anyways, what I'm saying is that how do we know that if I do find out this woman was an ancestor of mine, am I picking up her memories? Okay. What else I found out about this woman was that her mother, that had the two daughters, their mom, they're all buried together in a tomb over across the seas near Istanbul, I think, or no, they might be back in Egypt now, but they fled Egypt at one point in time, but because they had money and stuff, they often traveled to the area they now call Germany, for lavish gifts that they love to buy and shop. They also traveled to France, to Scandinavia, to other British places, because they were royalty, somewhat of royalty, because their dad was considered the Khedive or Viceroy of Egypt during that time, okay? But what I else found out about this was, a lot of people don't realize, when you hear Egypt, you think pyramids, Egyptians, mystical crap, things like that, okay? Come to find out, back in like the early 1800s, a lot of Arabians went to Egypt. And these Arabians are the ones who ruled that area that they call Egypt. And it started out with a guy named Muhammad blah blah blah. I don't remember his last name or his name. It was Muhammad something. He was the first like ruler of Egypt in the 1700s or early 1800s. And then then it'd be if he passed away, it'd be the next oldest male, kind of like how the royal family does now. And then it would just keep doing that, going down to the oldest living male, whether it be a brother or a son. So that's how that worked. And remember when I told you in the beginning that I said I felt like we were in Arabia? That we were like Arabian? Well, this guy was Arabian. And it said a lot of the people that lived in Egypt during that time were Levantine and Arabian. So now you understand how it all kind of ties together, right? So that's what I'm talking about, people. I'm talking about there's a connection. Whether we are reincarnated, our souls come back, because there are people I've been around that I felt like had a very old soul, and they felt that old soul feels very familiar to me. And there's places I've been that I'm like, that I've never been before, and I'll be at a place and feel like, man, I've been here. I know that there's this greenhouse down the road, even though I've never stepped foot in that town. So am I having a reincarnation moment, or am I having an ancestral memory? Because like I said, if your hair is genetic, your eyes are genetic, your earlobes are genetic, and diseases are genetic, how do we know that memories are not genetic also? Are not genetic traits that are passed down? And they might skip a generation and hit the next generation, just like physical traits do, or illnesses, genetic illnesses do. How do we not know that? So this is what I'm doing. I'm going to research. I'll probably have a part 2 to this sometime, who knows when. So when it comes to reincarnation, yes, I do believe in that. It is very possible because of things I've experienced. I also think that we do carry some of our ancestors' memories with us, or traits, or genetic memory. And I know that sounds crazy, but I think it's possible, because since I've come out about my gift and been more open about my spiritual happenings and stuff, I've noticed so much more opening up. It's almost like I feel like a book of knowledge now. Not the great book of knowledge, but I mean, like, I am so, if something catches my attention, I will search it and search it and search it and do research on it, and I'm hearing voices. I will do research on it because I've got to know. I've got to know why I had a vision of this person, and if I can find this person online. Why, when I had that dream, I had a specific name, and I've got to look this person up on Facebook to see if they even exist. And that kind of stuff has happened to me numerous times. So I'm a truth seeker. And if you look at my birth chart, if you read my horoscope, if you look at my palms, every one of those say that I am a seeker of knowledge, and I'm also a teacher. So it's not that I want to be a teacher, but I just want you guys to understand that don't ever think that you're crazy. If you get gut feelings, follow them. If you have a weird, bizarre dream, look up what it means. If you have repeated numbers, look up what they mean. Because for the last month, guys, I've had repeated numbers daily, all day long. So much so that if I catch it, I screenshot it or I take a picture of it, because I show my friends, look, this is one day's worth of repeated numbers, whether it's license plates, an address, a phone number, my total at the store. I can't even tell you how many triple numbers I've had in the past month. Hundreds. I mean, my one bill that I just paid was $111. Okay? 111. I see 1111 so many times a day. 333 tons of times a day. 222 all the time. Even on a cow's ear. I was out country cruising, and I was driving, and I stopped because there was cows at the fence, right? And I start talking to the cows, and my daughter's thinking I'm all crazy, and all of a sudden I see their ear tags, and it says 222. I took a picture of it because I knew nobody was going to believe me. Nobody was going to believe that I have been seeing repeated numbers. So when you get repeated numbers, look them up. Find out what they mean pertaining to you and what's going on in your life at that time. not only has that happened, just anything that you get that seems strange and unusual, do your research, because maybe it's not so strange and unusual. And I know my story was kind of everywhere, but I just want you guys to know that there is something to it. There is a whole world of knowledge out there that we do not know and we may never understand. But if we don't start taking the steps to try to understand the things that happen to us, and the triple digits, and the how our soul feels, or the visions we get, or the weird dreams that are so vivid that you know they have meaning to, if we don't start doing the research on those now, or taking the initiative to learn what it means, people are going to be so in the dark forever. Forever. Because it's all connected. We are all connected. All connected in some way, shape, or form. And we are connected to the divine. God, Mother Nature, whatever you want to call your higher power. So we're all connected. And so it really would make sense that reincarnation could be possible, or ancestral memory. So as soon as I know more, I will let you all know. And I didn't mean to take you down this rabbit hole, but I just wanted to explain it to you because I've had people asking me, do you believe in reincarnation? Do you believe in reincarnation? But I've never heard anybody say anything to me about genetic memory from ancestors. No one's even come to that conclusion. Maybe I'm the first. I don't know, because I always discuss this with my best friend G. I'm like, listen, how do we not know that we're not remembering stuff from our ancestors? It's been passed down because everything else is passed down. So why couldn't memory be passed down? So I don't know if I'm the first person to ever think that way. I don't know, but that's just how I am. I gotta know. I want to know before I leave this earth, which I'll definitely know once I do leave this earth, but I want to know now. I'm not waiting till then. Anyways, believe, and always believe in yourself. And I'm sorry this video took so long, but I will do a part 2, especially if I do find out that Amina is related to me somehow, ancestral. If not, then I know something bizarre is going on, and maybe I was, or had a past life as her. Not sure yet. We'll find out. That's to be at a later date. Always believe in yourself. Oops, I said that wrong. Believe, and always believe in yourself. And I'm going to get off here because it's getting late and I got a bunch to do tomorrow when I get up. All right, guys, have a good night.